Revenge films.
I had been living with my husband, Jake. One day, while he was back at his parents' house, he suddenly called me and told me to come over. When I arrived, I found Jake sitting next to his parents with a woman I didn't know. The moment I saw her, I had a bad feeling.
Hannah, the truth is, I've been cheating, and Monica, my mistress, is pregnant.
What? My worst fears were confirmed, but I never imagined he had gotten another woman pregnant. I was so shocked I couldn't even speak.
I know this is a lot to take in, and I'm really sorry, but I've always wanted kids, and I love Monica, so... Hannah, please divorce me.
Hannah, that's how it is, so just give him the divorce already. His mother chimed in. I'm so sorry, but I fell in love with Jake and I ended up getting pregnant. Monica added, completely unfazed. Jake's mother, for some reason, looked pleased.
Honestly, Hannah, you were never a good match for our son. This was bound to happen sooner or later. Unlike your family, Monica's father is a high-ranking executive in a major company. She's a much better fit for us.
I was stunned by his father's words. I had always known they weren't exactly welcoming towards me, but I never imagined they looked down on me this much. It wasn't just about me. They were insulting my family, too. But before I could even process the shock, I felt something snap inside me. All right, I'll divorce you. I don't need a piece of trash like you anyway.
Great, that settles it.
Finally! I never liked this marriage from the start. Oh, everything's finally falling into place. Not so fast. I'll be making sure both of you pay me alimony. At that, Jake's parents burst into laughter, mocking me that they think I can't afford a lawyer because I'm a poor girl who wouldn't even have the money to get legal help. But I ignored them, walked out, and went straight to file the divorce papers. The next day, as I was packing up my things, the two of them showed up, Jake and Monica.
What the hell are you still doing here? We're divorced! Stop acting all pathetic and get out already!
Jake snapped. Behind him, Monica smirked smugly, her eyes practically screaming. This house is mine now. Get lost, loser. But I calmly explained something to them, that this house was mine. They both froze, their faces screaming, "What?" That's right. This house had always been mine. Jake and I had lived here together since before we got married, but I was the owner. I sighed, watching Jake panic as he finally remembered. Of course, he never thought about it before. He was too busy imagining this house as his new love nest. Monica had turned pale, but I didn't care. I simply shoved her out of the room. Outside, I could hear Jake and Monica arguing loudly, their voices echoing through the night. After a while, the noise died down. Whew! Serves them right, I thought to myself, feeling completely refreshed. A few days later, my doorbell rang repeatedly. Annoyed, I braced myself for whatever nonsense was coming this time and answered through the intercom. To my surprise, the screen showed my former father-in-law. What does he want now, I wondered, rolling my eyes. Through the intercom, I coldly asked what business he had with me. He immediately demanded to know why I had never told them that I was the granddaughter of a company president. Technically, it wasn't my father, but my grandfather who owned a major corporation. My father had chosen not to take over the family business, leaving it to my uncle, and instead pursued a career as a teacher. That's why, as far as anyone knew, I was simply the daughter of a public servant. Apparently, after Jake and his family excitedly bragged to their relatives about his new wife and child, someone in the family had set them straight. Wait, you let go of a woman from that family? Oh, what a waste! And just like that, they suddenly realized what they had lost. I scoffed at the sheer hypocrisy of it all. Now they wanted to change their tune? Ugh, what a joke. This has nothing to do with you anymore, does it? We're divorced after all. Oh, and by the way, your son got kicked out and has nowhere to live. Why don't you take him in? With that, I cut off the intercom and ended the conversation. My parents had always chosen to live modestly despite my grandfather's wealth, and I had grown up the same way. Even after I shut him down, my ex-father-in-law kept ranting outside the door. I warned him that I'd call the police, and after one final grumble, he finally slinked away. A few days later, Jake showed up. Turns out Monica had believed that Jake was wealthy because he always acted like he had money to burn. She had assumed that marrying him would give her access to this house and his fortune. To seal the deal, she had lied about being pregnant, But once she found out that the house was mine and realized that Jake was actually reckless with money, she dumped him immediately. And now here he was, trying to crawl back. Listen to me. That woman was a total scam artist. She lied about being pregnant. I was tricked. I should have never left you. Please, let's start over. Start over. What a joke. Without saying a word, I yanked the door open. His face instantly lit up with hope until I dropped a suitcase at his feet. Here, this is the last of your stuff. The rest, I already shipped it to your parents' house. COD, of course. Goodbye. I shut the door in his face. Just like his father, Jake stood outside for a while, rambling about how he still loved me, how I was the only one for him, how we could fix things. But eventually, he slumped in defeat and walked away. After that, I told my parents everything and made it clear that I was going through with the divorce. I also asked my grandfather to introduce me to a tough divorce lawyer. Since I was his only granddaughter, he absolutely doted on me so much that within 10 minutes of our conversation, the lawyer had already arrived. With the lawyer's help, I filed claims for damages against both Jake and Monica. Monica, of course, lost her mind. She had expected to gain a house and money, yet now she was being forced to pay compensation instead. She threw a fit, demanding, "Why the hell should I have to pay? I didn't even get the house or any money." But she had already proudly declared her affair with Jake in front of everyone, so there was no way out of it. In the end, she was saddled with several $100s in debt and had to juggle multiple part-time jobs just to make the monthly payments. Jake and his parents, on the other hand, had assumed I wouldn't even be able to afford a lawyer. So when a top-tier attorney showed up, their faces turned ghostly pale, and since Jake had confessed to an affair in front of witnesses, there was no escaping the financial consequences. Completely concerned, they tried to play the sympathy card, begging and even dropping to their knees. "We were tricked. We were victims too. Please give Jake another chance. We swear he'll treat you right from now on." Yeah, as if. Not happening. Naturally, my father was furious, but my grandfather's anger was on another level. He wasn't the type to just let something like this slide. He did some digging, and after confirming what Jake had done, decided to cut all business ties with Jake's company and switch to a competitor instead. Eventually, this sent Jake's employer into a panic. Once they found out about his affair, they wasted no time demoting him, banishing him to a tiny branch office in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea if Jake was ever actually competent at his job, but I do know that once someone gets transferred there, they're never getting promoted again. He's basically stuck in career purgatory. Either he quits on his own, or he spends the rest of his life as a nobody. On top of that, with the divorce settlement hanging over his head, he couldn't afford to stay in his fancy apartment anymore. He was forced to move into a rundown, cheap apartment, living in complete poverty. As for his parents, they lost everything. Their precious daughter-in-law, their financial security, and even their reputation. To make matters worse, news of Jake's affair spread like wildfire in their neighborhood. Everyone knew they had sided with the mistress and treated me like trash. And now they were being labeled the worst kind of in-laws. They'd become so hated that they could no longer even show their faces in public. Honestly, serves them right.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.